Nintendo was in one of its darkest eras with the Nintendo Wii U. It was looking very grim, and every single year releases very slowly drip-feeded out for the console, and there was just no interest in it whatsoever. It was marketed very bad, and the execution of their plans for a new Wii just really didn't hit the mark with the public, and that in turn led us to the Nintendo Switch, a little earlier than normal for a new console, but in 2017 the Switch would release, and it would be Nintendo's biggest success in a very long time, and is on its way to be one of the best-selling video game consoles of all time. And it's exciting to see where we came from 2017 all the way to now of 2024, as I think it's safe to say that the Nintendo Switch's life cycle is coming to an end. Its legs are just about to run out, and what we know right now could very well be the last of Nintendo Switch. With Nintendo confirming that the Switch 2 will be announced sometime this fiscal year, and all the rumors suggesting that the Switch 2 will probably most likely launch at the very beginning of next year, it's safe to say that it looks like this might be our final lineup, that this Nintendo Direct that we just got might be the final one for Nintendo Switch. And if that's the case, I can proudly say as a Nintendo Switch owner that I am more than happy with what we've got. I know it's easy for us to complain as Switch fans and make excuses for things and say, man, Nintendo just gives us ports or remakes or remasters, but when you really look at Nintendo's lineup and what they have given us, it's absolutely massive first party wise, and that's not even including any other the third party games. No, today I'm just focusing on the first party software because it's massive, and Nintendo have given us games that a lot of us probably didn't expect to receive on a new console like this. Just take a look at this. This is the span of 7 years. Look at how many first-party games that Nintendo was able to squeeze on this one console. I know a lot of these games are new games, and I know a lot of these games are sequels, and I know a lot of these games could be spin-offs or even ports, remakes, or remasters, but even with all of that said, you can't really deny how massive this lineup is for Nintendo. Of course, let's just look at Mario first, and yeah, I know, Nintendo did not forget about Mario, clearly. There is Mario everything on Nintendo Switch, from mainline 3D games like Super Mario Odyssey or Mario 3D World coming over with a brand new Bowser's Fury game mode, all the past 3D Mario games with 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. No Galaxy 2, but you know what? It's still okay at the end of the day with everything else that we've gotten. We got 2 2D Mario games with new Super Mario Bros. U coming back, but a brand new one that finally broke the tradition with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We even got Mario spin-offs like Mario Maker 2, and Captain Toad made his return. We haven't even dove into the RPGs because it has never been a greater time to be a Mario RPG fan. We have Mario Rabbids, and in fact, 2 Mario Rabbids thanks to Sparks of Hope, which gave us a new tactical style of RPG for Mario. Mario having not 1, but 2 Paper Mario games, and one of those being a childhood classic for a lot of us that's brought back in an amazing remake. Mario RPG from the SNES would even have a remake here, which is amazing, and Mario & Luigi would be proven to not be dead, thanks to Mario & Luigi Brothership that was just recently announced to come later this year. We can't leave out the sports games, even though they were a little less than ideal from what we have expected, but Nintendo did give us a brand new Mario Tennis, a brand new Mario Golf, and a brand new Mario Strikers. And yes, once again, it did feel like it took a while for these games to reach its full potential, thanks to what Nintendo calls free updates later down the line. I still definitely wish we would have got our Mario Baseball or maybe even a Mario Basketball out of that list, but still very happy with what we've gotten. Mario Party has been no stranger to Switch either, just like the old days where we used to get around 3 to 4 a console back on the GameCube and Nintendo 64, and once again, the Switch is no exception, with us having 3 Mario Party adventures, with one of them not being super great with Super Mario Party, but with Mario Party Superstars bringing back classic minigames and boards, and the brand new Super Mario Party Jamboree, which looks like a true return to form to Mario Party. It truly looks like a Mario Party Wonderfest on the Switch. We can't leave out Mario Kart 8. Yes, it's the same game from the Wii U, and it's now been about 10 years since this game has been out, and of course fans are dying for a new Mario Kart experience, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was an experience that I really didn't expect to take off as much as it did, thanks to the booster pass, giving us a whopping 48 additional tracks coming from the past, and it was just an amazing time to be a Mario Kart fan. But Nintendo even sprinkled in a few surprises with Mario vs. Donkey Kong coming back from the Game Boy Advance, and even another Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, which seems to be the only one that we're getting for the Switch. We can't forget some Mario character spin-offs, like Princess Peach getting her own game once again with Princess Peach Showtime, and even Luigi's Mansion getting one of the best-selling games on the Switch with Luigi's Mansion 3 and the newly released Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. And Wario has had his fair share of microgames as well, with 2 microgame collections on the Nintendo Switch, which has never been seen before. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a 2D adventure game for Wario, like a Wario Land game, but you know what? I will definitely take the double microgame fun that we've gotten so far. There's even more if you include other Mario branded characters like Yoshi getting Yoshi's Crafted World, a new 2D adventure for Yoshi, and also 2 Donkey Kong games, even though unfortunately for us Donkey Kong fans, they're not the new Donkey Kong game that we're looking for. Yes, we got Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze returning, the exact same game pretty much from the Wii U, and we got Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which for better or less, at least we have both Donkey Kong games on Switch, but man, I wanted a new game. But you look at this list, and almost 30 of all these games on the screen right now are Mario related in some capacity, which is absolutely insane. Mario has taken over the Nintendo Switch in almost every aspect, from 2D to 3D platformers, from spin-offs like parties and sports, and even the RPG series getting a full revival with pretty much every single Mario RPG you can think of. This has been a great era for Mario. And let's not forget about Zelda. Now, Zelda did not have anywhere near as Mario, and I know some people still wanted specific games like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, but still considering the fact that we got 7 Zelda games on the Switch is still also massive. That's literally like a Zelda game for every year, not to mention we got 2 mainline open world Zelda games. Even if one was a sequel from the first one, that's pretty daggone good for one console. Obviously, starting off the console as a launch title with Breath of the Wild was so huge. A big open world, new style of Zelda game, followed by a sequel around 6 years later with Tears of the Kingdom. 2 mainline Zelda games. We also got some Warrior titles, with the Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition giving us the best of all the different versions of Hyrule Warriors out there, and another Hyrule Warriors called The Age of Calamity, which is referenced from Breath of the Wild, taking us back to that world, but in Hyrule Warriors format. We also got Link's Awakening returning, and actually a remake of that game with a cool new art style that's being influenced with a brand new Zelda game coming, a top-down 2D Zelda game featuring Zelda as the main character with Echoes of Wisdom. And that leads us with my favorite Zelda game, thankfully is on Nintendo Switch, with The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. So there's definitely a lot of Zelda to choose from, and I know some people still wanted their favorite Zelda game on the Switch, whether it be Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, and it is still kind of strange to me that those didn't happen, but with what we got, 7 Zelda games, I am definitely more than happy. Now, you might only see 3 Kirby games on this list, but do not be fooled, because Kirby has overrun the Switch with games. Whether it be small eShop titles, brand new games, or remakes or remasters, there's so much Kirby to play, including a brand new 2D title with Star Allies. Or you could play one of my favorite Kirby games of all time, being Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and this time with a deluxe edition, giving you a brand new Magolor side mode. And now, not only my favorite Kirby game of all time, or the one that I was hoping for the most, but one of my favorite Switch games in total, being Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Kirby's first ever 3D debut, and it was beautiful. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is so monumental for HAL Labs, not only being their best-selling Kirby game so far, but just being such an amazing 3D experience. But once again, not counting any of the Switch Online games, which there are classic Kirby games on Switch, you also have some fun eShop experiences like Super Kirby Clash, which is a new version of Kirby Clash making a return from the 3DS, or another 3DS title making a return with Kirby Fighters 2. What about Kirby's Dream Buffet, where you could race and battle others online? So yes, I still would have loved to see maybe a squeeze of Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot on the current Nintendo Switch, but yeah, there might only be 3 Kirby logos on this screen, but Kirby was clearly there on Nintendo Switch in every way, shape, and form. HAL Labs completely outdid themselves. Finally, Pokemon games on home console was the thing for Switch, because Pokemon ran all over this console with new titles. And seriously, I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people mad. I have never played a Pokemon game before, and my very first one ever was Sword and Shield. Whether you guys like that game or not, I thought it to be a blast for my first experience, and I did have a fun time with it and actually did everything that you could possibly do in the game, meaning completing the full Pokedex as well, which was just a lot of fun for me. And it was a great experience that I probably wouldn't have had if Pokemon didn't make a debut on Switch and home console. But you also had Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, another home console experience, which, you know, had its issues. We all know that. It'll get better, hopefully, but there's tons of other Pokemon experiences on Switch to have, like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. You have Pokemon Cafe. You have Pokken DX, which was coming from the Wii U. Fans finally got their Diamond and Pearl remakes with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. You had the debut of Pokemon Unite and a brand new version of Mystery Dungeon. You got Pokemon Snap finally making its grand return after all of these years, and I think it's safe to say that a lot of people's favorite Pokemon game this generation, being Pokemon Legends Arceus, was a big hit with a lot of people, giving it more of an open world feeling as you're able to just toss Pokeballs at the back of Pokemon's heads. It was a different experience like none other, and quickly became Pokemon fans' favorite new way to play Pokemon. And with that said, of course, fan demand reached out, and of course we're getting a brand new Pokemon Legends ZA game happening sometime next year. Whether that is for this console or approaching on Nintendo Switch 2, it's really crazy how much Pokemon is landing on the Nintendo Switch. As you can tell right now, everything that I've mentioned so far is just straight up core Nintendo Switch, filled with Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and Kirby goodness. I mean, what else could you ask for? Well, there's a lot more on this console. After all of those years, Pikmin 4 finally was real. And not only did we get Pikmin 4 on Nintendo Switch, but we also got Pikmin 3, and Pikmin 1, and Pikmin 2. Yes, we got every Pikmin game besides Hey Pikmin, thankfully. I don't think a lot of people wanted that one. But Pikmin everything is on Nintendo Switch, and I mean seriously, us Pikmin fans have never eaten this good. It looks and feels so good for the future of Pikmin right now. I mean, Nintendo Switch did this. And Metroid had somewhat of a revival on Nintendo Switch with a complete remaster of Metroid Prime 1, which everyone unanimously loved. It's a beautiful looking game and a great way to bring that game back. And huge rumors still suggesting that 2 and 3 might slip onto Nintendo Switch before this is all said and done with. You never know. We also got a brand new 2D Metroid that's technically been in the works for like the last 15 years, being Metroid Dread, which is technically Metroid 5. Taking us back to that classic 2D gameplay with new revamped controls and abilities, it was an amazing 2D Metroid game. And of course, with Metroid Prime 4 on the horizon, we don't know if that's going to be a Switch 1 game or a Switch 2 game or maybe even a cross-release between 1 and 2. It's hard to tell, but man, there's a lot of Metroid goodness on Nintendo Switch, which I think a lot of us never really expected to happen. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't know much about these two series that I'm about to talk about, but to see where they have come from not really receiving much of anything in past consoles and seeing where we are now is kind of insane. With Nintendo Switch, we got 3 Fire Emblem titles, 2 mainline and a Warriors. Fire Emblem 3 Houses was one of the biggest in the entire series, and I've seen so many people so excited and happy with that game. Engaged, not as much, but it still was another brand new mainline Fire Emblem title. But once again, yes, hitting with a new Warriors title taking place in the Fire Emblem 3 Houses universe was also pretty cool as well, and it just made sense for another Warriors game to take place with Fire Emblem this time. And the Xenoblade franchise was able to get 3 games out on Nintendo Switch, 2 mainline and a remake, remaking the very first Xenoblade with my boy Shulk. It's weird, I really want to get around to playing these games. I actually watched the entire story from the first game twice, and I love the story and everything. I just never got around to playing the game. The gameplay was a little wonky to me, and I'm still trying to see if I can get into that. But yeah, the only game you're really missing is Xenoblade X here on the Switch. You got a brand new Xenoblade with Xenoblade 2, and yet again, another one with Xenoblade 3 in DLC that kind of ties in all the games together in some unique ways. Xenoblade has never had more representation ever than the Nintendo Switch. JRPGs are definitely winning here. Of course, Nintendo's brand new franchise, Splatoon, has never been this big ever. Splatoon has had not 1, but 2 brand new releases on one console, which seems kind of weird considering the fact that it's an online based game where you're playing against others, and it seemed like it's going to be one of those games that we get maybe once a console, you know. That's what it felt like. It's just tons of updates to that game throughout that console's life. Clearly not, where Nintendo probably wants to have a new one every 2 to 3 years, it seems like, which is interesting. But Splatoon just got bigger and bigger and bigger with Splatoon 2 and 3 and DLCs for both of these games that help to expand the game even more. Splatoon is off on an amazing run so far with a brand new franchise for Nintendo, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Of course, what's a new Nintendo console without a Smash Brothers? I mean, Smash Ultimate became one of the biggest global icons ever. I mean, Smash Brothers has always been a big franchise, and even Smash 4 has some crazy reveals, but Smash Ultimate, man, not only did it had some crazy reveals, but it brought back everybody from the past. I mean, this was truly the ultimate Smash Brothers experience that you could have out there, and it was an amazing title for Switch. Just to add a couple more to this amazing list is Nintendo gave us a new IP year one with ARMS, being this new IP with new characters, and it's a fighting game, and you're flinging arms across the arena. It was something weird, crazy, and strange, but it still was a lot of fun, even though it didn't blow up around the world quite as much as I think Nintendo wanted it to. But then, of course, we get another sports games as well with Switch Sports, which isn't quite as good as Wii Sports, but it is a sports game on Nintendo Switch that a lot of people ended up picking up. And you can't forget Nintendo's awesome new way to work out on this console. Instead of Wii Fit, you have Ring Fit, which actually became extremely popular for a lot of people. There's always room to be picky with Nintendo and say, where was F-Zero? Or where was Kid Icarus? We wanted some revivals of some other franchises, or maybe Punch-Out or Rhythm Heaven, and you could really just keep expanding that list because it's always possible to be missing something from Nintendo. You could even complain about some games from franchises that we don't have yet, like the beloved Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports. But at the end of the day, we can take a step back and look at Nintendo's amazing first-party lineup for Nintendo Switch. Out of the last 7, almost 8 years now, Nintendo has done amazing. It is no secret that Nintendo is at the top of their game right now, and it's only going to go up from here. As Nintendo gets ready to shift over from Switch 1 to whatever the Switch 2 is going to be called, it's definitely going to be an exciting time to be a Nintendo fan. Because right now, if you just look at what we have on the current Nintendo Switch, it's only got to get better because Switch has been so amazing to us. Thank you, Nintendo, for an amazing last 7 years of Nintendo Switch goodness, and I can't wait to see what the future is going to hold.